we're standing here on the bridge where we just watched this one ship that's going away from us cross underneath us, and then there's this other one approaching us. This is part of the Intracoastal Waterway that they're on. And you can see these enormous, I mean, these are massive ships. I'm not even sure what they're for because they're not carrying freight containers. But it made me think about two types of ships that early in our history, American history, came to these shores. There were ships that came here bringing settlers and bringing people for freedom. In fact, one of the very earliest colonies or places in the United States was here at Charlestown Landing in the early 1600s, early 1600s. And then, Maryland's right here beside me. And then they right over this way, right over here on Sullivan's Island, Fort Moultrie, some of the first major battle for the freedom of our nation against the British were fired. And so there were ships that came here bringing people to set them free. There were also a lot of ships that came here full of slaves from Africa. Charleston is known as being one of those places where slaves were brought and bought and sold, and people were brought here not for freedom but for slavery. And it just makes me think about what kind of ship are we going to be? Because there's a lot of Christians that spend their time binding other people up in chains, making up rules and binding people. Well, you can't come to my church unless you act a certain way, unless you dress a certain way, unless you look a certain way, unless you believe a certain way. If you think these things, you can't be here. And then and those people just bind up other people in chains of slavery and keep them bound down with the chains of their own sin. And then there's those who spend their time trying to set people free. It does not mean that we don't tell the truth, point out sin where sin is evident. It's not that we don't tell people the truth. But Jesus was amazing about living and telling people the truth, go and sin no more, and yet was known for spending time with people that nobody else would spend time with. Certainly no good religious person. Constantly accused of eating with tax collectors and sinners. So what kind of ship are you going to be? And what kind of ship is our church going to be? Are we going to be the kind of people and the kind of church that set people free? Or bind people up in chains? Personally, I'm glad to be a part of a church that seems to want to set people free. And I pray that we continue, both as individuals and as a church, to do those things. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you Sunday. God bless.